Learning target 5-4, trapezoids and kites. We have another set of quadrilaterals that we're going to be looking at. A trapezoid, by definition, is one set of parallel sides, as I start to write parallelograms. So our picture is going to look something like this. And remember that those the arrows are representing your parallel sides. Those side lengths do not have to all be the same. It's just how it is. With our trapezoid property number 1, this is with the angles, adjacent angles in which they each touch a set of parallel sides. Those add up to 180. So if I'm looking at this picture here, this angle here is going to add up to 180. An isosceles trapezoid, this is where the non-parallel sides are congruent. This also means that the base angles are congruent. So they're still going to add up to 180, but then my base angles, notice they're both a single arc. Those are congruent, and up top, those are 2 lines, so those 2 are congruent. Then we have a kite. With a kite, you have 2 consecutive sides are congruent, and the angles between angles between the differing sides are congruent. And then last but not least, the diagonals one diagonal bisects the other. I'm not sure how I want to phrase that. So I'll just leave it in the picture because I'm not exactly sure how I want to phrase that so you guys can understand that. So you have a kite picture here. So I've got 2 consecutive sides are congruent. So if I see here, I've got 2 sides that are the same, and then I have my other 2 sides that are congruent. As far as your angles go and your diagonals, so let's talk about the diagonals here real fast. These diagonals are at 90 degrees, and only the set with those opposite angles are going to be congruent. So this angle here and this angle here are also congruent. So there's a lot of information with those kites. Looking at number 1, right here, I see the arrows. So this is going to be a trapezoid. Angle M is 23, which means that angle L here is also 23. Now angle K and angle J, those are congruent. So I know that those are the same measure. And I know that consecutive angles add up to 180 there. So I've got angle J plus 23 degrees equals 180. So I'm going to subtract off that 23. And angle J is 157. On number 2, I do not have any arrows, so I know it's not a trapezoid, so this is a kite. Now, I know that in between your two sides that are not congruent, those angles are the same. Okay, we can consider this X and X. Now, the total degree measure of any quadrilateral is 360. So knowing that, I just have kind of like what we did with the polygon angle sum. I have X plus 90 plus X plus 130 equals 360. Combine your like terms, subtract off, divide by 2. X equals 70 degrees, which is angle L and K. Number 3, this doesn't technically have any parallel sides marked, but just looking at the picture, we know that this is a trapezoid. So these two angles are going to have to add up to 180. So we have X plus 3 plus 8X plus 15 equals 180. So I have my basic algebra problem I'm just going to solve. So 9X plus 45 equals 180. Subtract off the 45. 9X equals 135. Divide by 9. X equals 15. Number 4, we have consecutive angles there, or consecutive sides that are congruent. This is a kite. My side lengths here, these are going to be the same measure. So 9 equals 1/10 X minus 1. Now I know it's a fraction, but it's really not as scary as you think. I'm going to add the 1. I have 10 equals 1/10 X. Now remember, in order to get rid of a fraction, you're just multiplying or dividing depending on what you want. I'm going to go ahead and just divide it by 1/10. You can type that into your calculator. When you're doing it in your calculator, do 10 divide, then hit that fraction button in order to see what's going to happen there. And our answer ends up being 100. This is your trapezoids and your kites. Probably one of the more challenging ones out of everything that we've done so far. We have our test on Thursday, and I will see you guys tomorrow.